Alright, in this tutorial, this is an introduction to using the pen tool to draw shapes. So what you're going to do is you're going to open up this file called pen tool to exercise, and I want you to take your magnifying tool and zoom in on the first letter V. Now, I want you to notice that each shape has a start and end here button. So that's basically when you're drawing with the pen tool, it's like a connect the dots. You start in the same spot you're going to finish. So the V, when you're using the pen tool is located right here. It looks like an old-fashioned fountain pen. There it is. And what you're going to do is, on your toolbar, whenever you draw with the pen tool, it's best to hit this button, the None button. And here's why. You never want to draw with a color in your fill box, because as you draw, the pen tool will start to fill in for you. So as you can see, when you want to draw with the pen tool, you click, you move the mouse, you click, move the mouse. I'm going to go back to the beginning. And when you go back to the beginning of your shape, you're going to see when you put your pen tool on top of the point where you started, you should see, and if I can zoom out again, I messed up. What you're going to see is the pen tool icon, easy for me to say, and next to it you're going to see a little circle right there. When you see a little circle, you click on the first point you made and you make your very first shape. There you go. So if you notice, I didn't make any curves, just straight lines. And when you want to use something to fix it, you take your direct selection tool and you can fix anything you drew with your pen tool. Now, when you're drawing perfectly straight lines, if you hold down Shift, you can go ahead and just click and move, but hold down Shift makes a perfectly horizontal or vertical line, and it also makes a perfect 45-degree angle. Now, the C represents a whole new challenge. It's a curve. There's a lot of curves. But when I start, I'm going to start here, and I always want to move clockwise when I'm drawing. So I move clockwise, I click, hold down my Shift button, makes my straight line. Now, my next point is down here, but there's this dotted curve here. The curve is on the right. Now, when you click and drag, however you drag determines the curve. And it's usually the opposite way of the curve. So if the curve is on the right, I'm going to drag to the left. I'm going to let go. And there's my curve. Now, before I can move on, you see there's a big handle here. And what that handle does, it doesn't really give you complete control of your curve. So what you want to do is click on the point, and you're going to notice that little upside down V next to my pen tool icon. That's how you know you're directly on the anchor point. So I'm going to click there. Then I'm going to move to my next point, which is here. And my curve is below my anchor point, so I'm going to drag up with my pen tool to make my line. Straight line. Now up here, the curve's on the left, so I'm going to click and drag to the right. Curve's on the top of where my point's going to be, so I'm going to click and drag down. Straight line. Curves on the right, click and drag to the left. Curves on the left, or to the top, click and drag down. Straight click, drag to the right, go back to where I started and drag straight up. And that is how you draw curves. Alright. Drawing the T is very simple. Click, move, hold down your Shift button. And there you go. Now the O, while similar, and the R I should say, they're similar to the C because they have curves. They're different in every other letter because they have two shapes, an outside shape and an inside shape to make your letter. So I'm going to start here. I'm going to start going up. Remember, click and drag to the opposite side of your curve. If you mess up, Command Z. There we go. Now I'm going to draw the inside. There we go. So now, what I'm going to show you first is how to cut a hole into this. If I were to color my O, you'll notice that there's no hole in it. There's two separate shapes. So what I want you to think of is as this inside shape as a cookie cutter and this outside shape as the cookie dough. So what we're going to do is select both shapes and go under Pathfinder, under Window, and look for Pathfinder. And what we're going to look for are two buttons this year. The rest of these buttons you might learn in Graphics 2, 3, and Advanced. But these two buttons right here are the ones we're going to learn this year. And the first one we're going to learn is called Subtract from Shape. And it says Option click to expand. So I'm going to go ahead and hold down my Option button and click, and it cuts a nice little hole in my O. So now you would do the same thing to the R. Draw the R the same exact way you do the O, and then do your Pathfinder at the end, so it cuts a hole in it, and then you can go back and you can start filling in the rest of your letters. I didn't draw my R yet, but if I did, I would go ahead and fill it in. So go ahead and finish drawing your R, and that is how you use the pen tool.